everybody, welcome back to 1 Up 5 Down. I'm Eric, and in today's video I'm going to show you some of the things I do to get my bike ready for the track. Okay, so next week I'm going to the track. I'm going out to Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. It's my dog Rocket. Hey Rocket. Hey baby. Anyway, she likes to hang out here with me in the garage. And as you can see, I'm already getting it ready. I've already got the headlights covered up on here, and I've got the mirrors taken off, the blackout plates on. I used this company called Track brand light covers. Gave it a shot, and just so you've got a one-piece solution to cover up your headlights. Now, besides covering up your headlights, you should either remove the light bulbs or take the fuse out. So on this, I couldn't find the fuse for it. I even called the Aprilia dealer, and they weren't really any help either. So I just ended up pulling the light bulbs out of there, because what you don't want to have happen, especially because the bulbs that are in here are incandescent bulbs, they get really hot. So you don't want to heat this up and heat it up onto the lens of the headlight. And then obviously I took the mirrors off and put the blackout plates on there. And then some of the other stuff I have to do is I have to, well, I don't have to. You can put tape over this, but I don't want to do that. I want to take it all the way off. So that's what I'm going to do. I end up taking this off. For the turn signals, I have a plug, so I can just unplug these. That's not a problem. And then I'll put that tape over the tail light. And then I also need to switch out these DOT tires. Now, some DOT tires, like for instance these Pirellis, they do work fine on the track. But I've put a few miles on them, and so they're especially the rear is getting ready to get switched out anyway. So I've got some tires over here on my tire changer. I've got a new Dunlop Q4 sitting there on the top, and then slicks right below that. That's what I'm going to end up putting on the Aprilia, is going to be slicks. And then one of the other things, at least that I recommend doing, is while you're getting it ready for the track, you should clean your bike. And there's a couple reasons why. The main reason is that as you're cleaning your bike, if there's anything wrong, anything that needs to be addressed, you're gonna find it during the cleaning process. The other reason, and this came from somebody at the track, is that when you pull up for tech inspection, if there's a bike that's dirty, they give it an extra hard look, because the mentality is that if your motorcycle is dirty, chances are you're not taking care of it very well. You're neglecting. If you can't at least clean your motorcycle, chances are you're not taking care of some of the other issues that there may be on the motorcycle. One of them being your chain may either be too tight or too loose. Now, another thing as far as your chain, you don't want your chain to be tight. It's actually better to have your chain a little on the looser side than it is on the tight side. And the reason why is because things kind of expand and stretch as you get on the gas hard and whatnot. So, but your chain really should be adjusted to its proper adjustment, have the proper amount of slack. It shouldn't have too much slack. It shouldn't be tight. So, and that's in a lot of the owner's manuals. They kind of explain how to adjust your chain. So yeah, check that out. But I'm not going to go through all that step by step. This is just hopefully real quick video on just some of the things that I do. Okay, so you've seen the headlights. Now I'm going to go ahead and take off the license plate frame. I'll have to clean up this rear light a little bit before I put the sticky cover on it. And and then we'll move on to the next step. So another thing I recommend doing when you're taking things apart, have some of these with you. These are little tiny Ziploc bags. The reason why is because when you're taking out the nuts and bolts, things like that, you want to put them in here. Okay, this way you don't lose them. And yeah, you just don't lose them. Now, if you're going to take apart more than one thing, normally I would label this. So if I'm going to strip the bike completely down, I will have a label. I'll have a bunch of these, and I'll have each one labeled for right fairing, left fairing, belly pan, etc. Okay, but in this case, I'm just taking apart the license plate frame on the tail section. I'm not really taking anything else apart that is gonna, where these nuts and bolts are gonna stay out for a prolonged period of time. So this time I'm not gonna label the bag. Here we go, I got the rear tape on. Now you can see there's some wrinkles in here. I'm not worried about that. I'm just, I just wanna be able to satisfy the requirements for getting it on the track and having some tape on this. And for those of you who haven't been on the track, if you don't know, the reason why is that if you go down and this cracks or breaks, they don't want pieces of sharp plastic all over the track for somebody else to run over and have issues, have it puncture a tire or something. And if you're running on the track, you would appreciate that because, a set of slicks is gonna run you $400 or more. So anyway, this is why. Not a big deal, but it is one of the requirements. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull these tires off and change them out, put slicks on here. But before I do that, I'm actually gonna put some tire warmers on here. And the reason why is that with the tire being cold, it's a lot harder to get the tire off. It's a lot easier to get off if it's warm. So I'm gonna put tire warmers on here, and then I'm gonna take my slicks and throw them out in the driveway out in the sun and let them warm up a little bit. And I'll come back after that's done. So real quick, before you do throw tire warmers on your tire, make sure that you got any debris and stuff off of it. You don't want to warm these up and then you have little pebbles and stuff on here. So it's really easy to do. You just take some work gloves, and I'm assuming if you're doing this kind of work or you're doing any kind of work on your bike in your own garage, you should have some work gloves. If you don't, go get some. Anyway, you just spin it around and you just rub the tire like this, and this gets any extra little debris or anything that the tire is going to pick up. And then just give it a once over. Doesn't have to be perfect. You definitely don't want to spray any kind of cleaner on there. But just give it a quick once over, and then you're good to go as far as putting your tire warmer on here. Switch the tires back over to slicks. I've cleaned everything up pretty much and have readjusted the chain. And by the way, these Light Tech chain adjusters, they're worth their weight in gold. So for adjusting the chain, it makes the job so much easier. But right now I've got the tire warmers on there. The reason why, I want to make sure that they're heating the tire up okay. I want to know ahead of time if they're not working right, if I have an issue with them, and if I need to replace these. I want to take care of this ahead of time. So, and then after this, I need to recalibrate on the Aprilia. Aprilia has a thing in their electronics that you can, when you change a tire, you calibrate the tires that are on there so that the traction control and the wheelie control work properly like they're supposed to. So after I make sure that the tire warmers are working okay and they're heating up the tire like they're supposed to, then I'm going to take it out for a ride to calibrate the tires and make sure it's okay.
Okay, so let's try and calibrate these new tires. Alright, so I've got to be going about 25 miles per hour in second gear for 10 seconds. That's what the manual says, so let's see what happens. So it worked.
I calibrated the tires. The tires are set to go. The traction control is reading correctly, no problem. Although I did come across one problem. When I pulled the fuse for the tail light, so this A fuse runs your tail light, your running lights, and your brake lights. So I pulled that fuse because you're not allowed to run your tail lights on the track. And even with this black sticker on here, you could still see through it, okay? But the problem was I kept getting a service error message on my screen. You can cancel it once, but then it comes on and it stays on. And so the problem is because I pulled the fuse on it. So obviously pulling the fuse isn't gonna work. So what I did do is I found out where the light is plugged in here. And basically I just unplugged the light. So problem solved, the fuse can stay in there. I'm not gonna get a service error message, and the tail light and the brake lights are off. So that's it, we're ready to go to the track. Now we just gotta wait for track day to get here. And yeah, and then I'll see if I can film that too and see how it goes. So thank you so much for watching this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one.